Live from the shed. Yeah. Southern Fried Sound Stage, you know we rock hard. Baby, out here, that's the only way. We're bringing all the good times. Southern Fried Sound Stage, if you want to get crazy. Out here, that's the only way. We're bringing all the good times. All the good times. Southern Fried Sound Stage. Southern Fried Sound Stage. Southern Fried Sound Stage. Southern Fried Sound Southern Fried Sound Stage. 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 Southern Fried Sound
Yeah,
Stage.
I love it. Coming in for a landing here in the middle of the sound stage. To my right, your left, I guess that is, I think that's the way it would be, is Darrell, now known as Midnight Rider. I like it, man. I like it. Thanks for being with me on the Southern Fried Sound Stage, where each week we talk about music. We're not claiming to be experts on anything. We are fans. If you want to throw out your comments about a band and correct me, and that is fine. I will go from my own memories, which are fading as I get older. But I love music. Remember, each week we do Dave's 3 albums, real albums from Dave's vault, things that I've collected over time. There is a story to each one, usually. We're going to talk about the year 1973 in music tonight. And we're going to throw in some Fleetwood Mac. And we're going to do all that in about an hour. So that's a lot. We could do one of those and eat up the whole hour. So what's the first band you ever saw in concert there, Darrell? I'm curious.
First band I ever saw in concert was Triumph.
Wow, the Canadian trio. Amazing. I guess they were a trio. No, that was Rush. I don't remember. I like Triumph.
They opened for Ted Nugent
Yeah.
in Chattanooga. I went to several concerts with my older sister. She kind of broke me in.
God bless older sisters that love music.
And but from there on, I don't even know how many concerts I've been to. I've been to so many, and
yeah. And in the show, we will talk about concert experiences. That's a part of this show as well. Your personal experiences with concerts, good, the bad, the ugly, and the great. It's all there. I've had some bad things happen at concerts before.
No, me.
I've
Yeah.
had some great things happen. I've met some interesting people, and I've heard some great music. A couple of times I heard bad music over those years.
Yeah, me and my wife, we both love music. Uh, she's been to Woodstock show in New York.
Okay.
That was she had some real experiences there,
I bet.
and we just love music. I mean, I guess my favorite genre would probably be Southern rock.
Yeah, I mean that's big in our area. I'm really big on '80s, what they call hair metal. I don't call it that, but at the end of the day, I just like good music, and because of where we were born, there's a lot of that genre that I love. But my likes are really wide. I mean, it's way side to side. That's fine. And when I say I don't like a band, that doesn't mean I'm bashing them or anything. It just meant it wasn't my taste.
Right.
If it's your band,
Right.
like I'll give you an example. I was never a big fan of REM, but I'm not putting them down. A lot of people loved REM, but I was just never a fan.
My sister was the financial advisor for REM.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Well, how about that? You just never know what you're going to hear on the podcast.
Yes, she toured with them. Man, goodness, she toured with them on all their major tours. I've met all the members of REM. Ate with them. I mean,
Incredible, man! I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you're like Biscuit Boy, man. Y'all got all these stories. Well, they were at Georgia University, that's where they came up at, right, in Athens.
Yeah, they did. Yes.
Georgia, with the B-52s, and God, there was some other ones too. I mean, that was a great music town. Driving and Crying.
That.
Of course, the Black Crowes more Atlanta, but
that whole city is a music.
It's
paradise.
And I have seen most of my concerts in Atlanta, from the small venue to the largest venues. I haven't been in some years because I kind of quit going, but and the prices are horrible today. But my memories are mine, and there's a few bands that I missed that I would have liked to have seen. In fact, and some of them were just I was not allowed to go in the time frame when they were out, and or I just missed them, or they broke up with their dad or whatever. So, Darrell or Midnight Rider, excuse me, hand me the first album in Dave's vault. It's probably got a little dust on it. This one I just have I don't have the album in here, and I don't know why. But this was a band that. Do you like them? Do you like them? That band?
Oh yes.
This is the Rolling Stones' "Tattoo You." This is the only album by them that I have in my vault, by the way. And it's not because I do. What's funny is I have a solo album by one of the members, but for some reason, I never did buy a bunch of music from them. But I've always liked a lot of their music. I mean, going way back. I mean, there is so many good songs of them that I like, from "Start Me Up," and I mean, you can name tons of them I like. Now, do I know every song? No, that they ever made, but there's a few that I don't like. But this was a good album. Of course, you got the legend on the back as well. But it was a really good album. This was around what was that, 1980? Am I right, Darrell?
I believe so.
I believe that's right. I have to move my glasses and get out of the progressive. 1981. We almost nailed it. It was probably
81.
Recorded in 80, and this was a good album.
They were making at that time period. They were making a turn.
They were,
and like I'm a huge 70s person, and the music that I like from the Stones was the Sticky Fingers album. I mean, their earlier cuts to me they're more raw,
and they were bluesier, which was their start. I mean, they were blues-based band. They recorded down at some of the iconic recording studios. Muscle Shoals being one of those.
Yes.
One of their most iconic songs came out of those sessions.
Talented.
Oh, very, very talented. And Mick Jagger, I do have his solo album, and it's just I hate that Charlie has passed, and and of course Keith Moon and others that have came along, but they're still out there doing stuff. Amazing. And I think all of them are just about in their 80s now, if not all of them. But you know what?
And it's amazing
it's
when you
wild.
think about the Rolling Stones. I think you know, when I think of Keith Richards, I think, my, as much as that guy has been involved with and the problems that he's had, you know, he's still moving forward. A friend of mine was at Bike Week down in Florida,
Yeah.
and actually met Keith Richards, and he said it was one of the best experiences that he had ever had.
I can imagine
Just
it was.
talking, he said they were out on the ocean, walking down the ocean, talking about music, and he said it was just incredible.
Oh, I can only imagine what that would be like. Some of the songs on here I don't remember, and I don't remember when I got this album. It's funny because most of them I remember. But I know me and my best friend, who unfortunately was murdered, we were partners in music. We just loved music. And I've mentioned this on air that some of our albums were shared albums. And I think the reason that I don't remember, because I think this was one of his. And we shared albums back and forth. We bought some together. We had our own collections, and we were trading albums all the time. And he was murdered, and all his collection is gone. It's sad. I was able to rescue. I think this actually was his album. So it's my best friend, Robert Hodges. I'll say his name.
Wow.
Murdered 30 feet from my front door. Sadly, a domestic issue. But this album has obviously the title track. But my favorite song on here is one of my all-time favorite Stones songs is "Waiting on a Friend." Waiting for a friend. Is that waiting for a friend?
Yes.
I say waiting on a friend.
Waiting on a friend.
I love that song. I went to pick up my granddaughter, and she calls it my old man music. And so we were coming back from Athens, Tennessee, down in Chattanooga, and that came on satellite radio. I was flipping channels, and I went, "Oh, here it is!" And I sung that song all the way home, and my granddaughter's going, "I'm putting my earpods in." She said, "Pawpaw, you're scaring me," you know, like your old man music, you know. But I mean, I love that song. It just has I don't know how to say it. It kind of has a haunting sound to it. The way that, and I don't mean haunting in a scary way. It's a mystery kind of thing. I don't know how to describe it. That's the way I describe it for me. Is sometimes just the sound of a song just pulls me in, and that song has it's like, you know, you're waiting on a friend. I mean, it's about that, but the music itself sounds like that. It's like you're hanging out. And I guess I say haunting because it reminds me what I don't have anymore. I have a lot of great friends like Midnight Rider here, but my best friend in the world, like my brother, growing up, because I didn't have a brother till way later in life, it reminds me of our time together, and it's haunting to me because I'm waiting on a friend that is never going to walk through the door again in this life. And that's hard. It's very hard for me. It took me 40 years to go back to his grave to make the video I made this past year. I've been to the grave, but that's a whole other story that I've shared before. But I believe, to my friend Robert, I think this was just happened to be at my house, and there's no album in it. So I may have it up there. I may not. Maybe I don't know. Who knows? Number 2. That's number 1. Number 2. And we're going to go over because I'm messed up. Now, I am a huge Hall & Oates fan. Huge. You like Hall & Oates?
Yes, I do.
All right. Another band that kind of changed over time around that same time frame. And you think about all the great Hall & Oates songs, and so it is Hall & Oates. I'm going to show the album in a second. Hall & Oates, I mean, I think, Sarah Smiles. I mean, but MTV changed a lot of things. A lot of artists did change a little bit.
Yes.
They're that Philadelphia bluesy sound. Unfortunately, they broke up, and I hate that. I just love their sound together. But there are, so many great songs from the 70s era. Then when you get in the 80s, it changed a little bit. A little more popish, but a little bit more upbeat, too. And so this album, oh, yeah, there they are on the cover. And this was a really good album, which still had some of that. This was kind of I'm trying to look at the year here, and they've got this thing written so crazy. Sorry, I have to do my glasses again.
Is that 84?
This was 88.
88.
So it was a little bit later. This was later in the decade. So they did the video thing. They were doing videos and things. So, whether you know any of the songs on this, I was a big Hall & Oates fan. I had most of the Hall & Oates stuff I had was on cassette tape. back in the day, maybe one CD, but I have the album Out of Time. And that's really when things started changing. Out of Time, that album, it was more pop sounding, and they got away from the more live feel bluesy stuff that they did early on. You know, they were doing things like Man Eater, and which is a great song. I like Man Eater. You know, oh my God, I'm going blank. But
Kiss
Kiss was the one. Kiss on the list. That was one of them I was thinking of. Private Eye. I mean, you could keep going. All those great '80s songs, but they were much different than the stuff they did in the '70s, early '70s. Yeah. So a lot of bands went through that metamorphosis, and the '70s. It's definitive '70s sound, definitive '80s, and there was some bridges there. So I was a big fan. So that's one of the albums I have. Hall & Oates. Your favorite Hall & Oates song? It'd be hard for me to say, man.
I just like I said, I just love Sarah Small. I mean,
that's a hard one to beat. I mean, it's such a great song. Wow, we're gonna spotlight Hall & Oates and do them in a future show soon.
You know, there were several groups like America. They had tremendous harmony. Then you had Seals and Croft, which was
love them.
Excellent harmony.
Yes.
And then right in there comes Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
And they take it to me, I felt like they took it to a different level. They were just so good together.
Yes. And I forgot to say, I never saw the Stones live in concert. I did see Hall & Oates at the Roundhouse for that Out of Time album, and Till Tuesday opened up for them. Great show, by the way. Great show. One of my all-time favorite shows was that show because I grew up. Man, that's the songs of my youth, Hall & Oates, and I love that. All right, legendary status on the third one. I never have an idea what I'm going to pick when it comes in. I don't even think I have to ask if you're a fan of this band. It's
hard not to be.
This is number 4 in the repertoire, and you don't even have to see a name; you just have to see the album cover, right? That's all you need.
That's all.
And this was their heyday. Some would say best album all time. Some. If they don't say that, they would say best song of all time from this group.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
I would have to say yes.
It gets up there. So I like to show the inside, and I didn't show that on the other one. While you're talking, I forgot to pull that out because I like to show the inserts as well. Some of them have great inserts, some of them not so good. This is dusty; it's been up in storage. On the inside, we have another picture, and I love it when they put the lyrics to the songs on the back, and then you have that. Mm-hmm. That's big to me. I like when they have the lyrics a little bit about the song, so you have all that. Was Hall & Oates, and then we're going to show the Zeppelin stuff here in a second. What was you saying, Darrell?
Well, you were talking about, there's a lot of controversy about what is the best Zeppelin album. Some people will say House of the Holy.
Yeah.
Some will say, to me, this is their best album.
I believe it, and I really do. And I don't know how anybody could say differently, although there is great hits on 1, 2, and 3 and some after. But how do you not make this album the best when you have Black Dog kicking off the album, Rock and Roll? You can stop right there, and you just two of the greatest songs. And how many guitarists have been influenced by those two songs? And other instrument players as well, but especially the work of Jimmy Page just on those two songs. Every guitarist that you see that comes from that era always plays those riffs when they're talking. They'll say that those riffs influenced them in their guitar playing their whole career. But then you got the Battle of Evermore, and I'm going to skip the song. Misty Mountain Hop, 4 Sticks, Going to California When the Levee Breaks. How do you top that? And I ain't even named the best one, what many would say the best. Broski Bear, they're from Montgomery County, PA. Philly Burbs. John Oates went to North Penn High School which is near my parents' house, and Darrell Hall went to Owen J. Roberts High School. And I'm assuming you're a fan, my friend, talking about Hall and Oates. So sorry I missed your if I get my mouse to work right.
Thank you, Broski, for that.
Yes. I love the background stuff when they start talking about, and my mouse is not wanting to do right. It's okay. I'll get it in a minute. But so we say, I think we're both to us, this best album Zeppelin put out. I have no problem with saying that. When you have those songs plus right there on side one, Stairway to Heaven. Now, it is my understanding, and I may be dead wrong, they used to get a little ticked about people saying that because they don't think that's the iconic Zeppelin. I'm talking about Led Zeppelin members themselves. They always said that a lot of fans missed the mark when they say that. I don't like it when bands do that to their listeners because, number one, it's you created the art. If it's going to hit you different than it hits everybody else. And if I remember right, it's what is the song they always say is they believe is the iconic Zeppelin song. It is a legendary song. What is it? My gosh, it's like a long song. It's like 8 minutes long. You know what I'm talking about? And I can't. I'm like Scooter. I can't think of what I was going to say. But Plant has said this a lot. Like, if you think "Stairway to Heaven" is our best song, you've missed it. Well, come on, we'll be the judge of that. "Stairway to Heaven" hits all the marks. And this album, Kashmir, yeah. Robert Plant especially believes that Kashmir was the quintessential Zeppelin song. He's the one that created all of them, him and the band. I mean, I love the band. I mean, and
thank you, Broski. That's true. Kashmir,
yeah. Yes, thank you for that. But even they themselves, in this album, they put the "Stairway to Heaven" lyrics on the one side of the insert. So what were they promoting? They weren't promoting the other songs. They put that one. That's what they kicked off with right there. That's what they wanted,
there's just so much. There's so much to talk. You could talk months about Led Zeppelin.
Sure.
I mean, there's so much to talk about when you talk about Led Zeppelin. I don't know. I mean, everybody has opinions, but I don't know if there was ever, I don't know if there was ever a greater rock band than Zeppelin.
And that is the debate.
I mean, there's a huge debate about it,
but I don't think you can debate it. I mean, and I get people have a lot of feelings about this because they like different music. But when you look at the amount of work that they did, I know they're taking old blues standards and they're goosing all that up. But listen, there's several reasons for that. Number one, and we could list probably 10 off the top of our head of why they have to be the number one band ever. Number one, it is arguable because a lot of people think of Ginger Baker, but I think the best drummer ever. I think his ability to change time and everything that he brought to that band, he's right there. If you want to argue the point, Neil Peart and Ginger Baker, fine, but he is the best of the best. You have that. You have Jimmy Page, who before there was ever an Eddie Van Halen on the scene, Jimmy Page was a huge session player, making his mark all over thousands of songs. And then he comes along and just blows everybody away. He was the guy that blew everybody away before Eddie came on the scene. That's nothing against Eddie. Jimmy Page was making his mark and influencing millions of guitarists way before Eddie came around. Way before.
If you ever listen to the Yardbirds,
yeah,
I mean, their music was, they were creative. It's almost like when you look at Cream, those 60s, I call them psychedelic bands, but
yeah,
just when he comes out and joins in with Led Zeppelin and they begin to form the group.
Yeah.
John Paul Jones, probably one of the most underrated bass players.
You took the words out of my mouth because he's a man. He did everything and he did it great.
I mean, he set the course for the band.
He set the course. He is amazing. He's like the Lindsey Buckingham of bass guitar because of all the different sounds he can get out of the stuff that he did. There's a lot of people can't follow Lindsey. It takes 2 guitars to do that. Well, and there's a lot of great bass players, but he did more than that. The keyboards and all the stuff. You know, he's one of those guys that was playing with his feet sometimes. It's like a Geddy Lee or something. I mean, not for singing. And he's okay singing, but it's the work they do, the artistry that they do is crazy. And I don't think he gets enough credit. I really don't.
And you have to bring this up. I know a lot of people don't want to bring this up when they think about Zeppelin, but Zeppelin was very mystical, David.
Very mystical.
You know, and they had a sound, and the way Robert Plant would be the stage man, it was just like everything was just so. When you saw him in concert, it was just like so mystical and so profound, I guess is the word. You know, when I first heard Zeppelin at a very young age, I didn't know what to think of it. I mean, it was just, to me, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, it just grabs you. The sound. Yeah. And Jimmy Page deserves all this credit because he was the producing all this. He set up all these. This guy was the early guy, and there might have been some others, but this was the guy that was setting up mics in unusual place, recording in different rooms, getting different sounds out of different things. He was a genius in that way.
Yes.
An absolute genius. And squeezing all that music on an album. There was limitations there. And that's the best place to listen for all music, but especially Zeppelin is off the album. You just can't get all that off this digital stuff.
Do you remember the story? I don't know if you remember the story. You might could tell it. Do you remember the story about when they first wanted to cut Stairway to Heaven, and it was a lengthy song, and they didn't know if the radio stations
I've heard talk about that
would play it?
Yeah.
Do you know the story behind that?
I don't know if I know the full story.
Yeah.
Do you?
No, I don't.
You don't?
But I've heard it was mentioned that there was kind of controversy about it first when they decided that they wanted to release Stairway to Heaven for airtime play. And they said, it's too long. People will not, it won't get a lot of airtime. People won't.
Well, this was recorded in a time. If you went 3 minutes, you went too long on a song.
Right.
I mean, they didn't even want, they wanted 2 minutes or something, or 2 minutes, about two and a half. That's about where they wanted songs because they wanted to get the commercials in.
So where does the song rank as in the, what? It's got to be what, in the top 5 of the all-time songs?
A lot of people say it's number 1, and there's people that argue against that. I don't. You can argue other songs, and I have no problem with that because everybody has favorites. But there's a lot of cases to be made as the number 1 song. You went back to this mystical. There's something about that song that just messes with people. It's a mystery. It's mystical. It has this haunting. I'm going back to that word. Is the way it starts out with the guitar work early in that song, and then that song builds as it builds. And the guitar and the backbeat and Robert Plant's voice all blending together as it builds. It takes you on a journey, man, which music does. But it takes you on a journey that has so many different off-ramps, man. Every time I hear, I've never gotten tired of hearing Stairway to Heaven. When it comes on the radio, it's up. I mean, it's just one of those songs you're like, I'm not going to miss this. I'm going to hear this all the way through.
I want to say that I first heard Stairway to Heaven when I want to say that I was 12, maybe 13, when I first heard Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
Now, you got to understand, I was raised in a Christian home.
Me too.
My dad was a preacher. And the first time that I heard that, one of my friends from junior high school had the album. I couldn't have the album.
Yeah.
I couldn't have that.
I
So,
couldn't either.
you know, I had to hear it, you know, and I heard it at Mark Ferguson's home.
No, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah. And we had a little band called Union Pacific. It was Robert Smith, Mike Williams, and Mark Ferguson and me. We were called Union Pacific.
Cool.
He lived over here.
What'd you play?
I sang.
You sang. Okay.
I sang. Mark played guitar, rhythm guitar. No, Mark played lead guitar. Robert Smith played rhythm guitar. And we had a drummer. We didn't have a bass player. We had a drummer, Mike Williams. And we practiced over there in Dallendale in Mark's garage. And he pulled out that Zeppelin. Well, now you got to understand now.
And it rocked your world.
Well, listen, you know that part where it says, yes, there are two paths you can go by in the long run, but there's still time to change the road you're on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I first heard that at 12, 13 years old and being raised in a Christian home, I just had this, I can't even explain it to you. I mean, I just had this feeling fall over me.
Yeah.
Like, what am I listening to? You know, because I've never been subject to it. Now, they had been, you know, of course, they were all big into,
We all had that.
Mark
feeling.
was big into Rush.
Yeah.
Mike was big into Kiss. I mean, you've got all these things going on, you know, and you're trying to figure out, man, it's all good.
Yeah.
You know, at that time in my life, it was like, wow, I want to hear that again. And that's the kind of like Zeppelin was to me. It was like, man, once I heard it, I was like, man, I want to hear that again. And then I want to go get the album, but, you know, I've got to hide it at the house.
I didn't buy this album. This is not a first run or anything like that. This came out in what, 74? Am I right on that? Somewhere around there, 73, 74?
So. Yeah.
I bought this in the 80s.
Wow.
I was and I was married in 86, so probably around 88, 87, 88. Me and my wife went out to, you know, where Anchors is.
Yes.
I love Anchors Hoagie. And
Over in Brainerd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that record shop that used to be right beside there?
Was that Cats?
I don't think it was Cats. It could have been, because there was a Cats out there. It could have been, but I don't.
I know the record store that you're talking about.
I was thinking Cats was up the
back
street.
down.
Yeah, up the
closer
street.
to like Bendigo.
I really don't. This was called like the record store or something. I don't even remember. But and Turtles was East Ridge and all that. But I went in after we ate there, and I was flipping through albums. That's what you did. And this came up, and I was like, okay, this is it. I'm buying. This is the album I'm buying tonight. And me and my wife bought that together. It's got this killer fold out, you know, and talk about the little mystery, you know. And I mean, look at there's all kinds of things in
Mountain.
that picture. Then you got the background, you know. I mean, wow. No, there on Twitch, I don't have a call-in option right now. We're developing that. We will get that opportunity. There's a way to do it. I just don't have it set up to do it. So apologize for that to our friend from Twitch. But anyway, we you know, it's hard to get to the next things, but and we're probably going to fail tonight and have to come back and do part 2 on this one. But I think it's worthy discussion. Do you think the Stairway to Heaven is the #1 rock song ever? And do you think this is this in your top 5? If you're our age, you probably have got that. You've got this in your top 5 for sure. And I would like to hear somebody.
What do you mean, top 5 albums?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in my top 5.
Who would you put up there if you could think off the top of your head to meet it, to be there with it?
To be there with that album?
Sharing top 5 status. You can think about the answer next week if you want to, but because there's some great iconic albums. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we mentioned the Allman Brothers. We mentioned Leonard Skinner. There's a great album. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I like. A lot of different kinds of music, but man, I mean,
I'll tell you.
I'll
tell you an album that as far as people talking about great albums, I tell you an album that would give that a challenge. and that's Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
And we're going to talk about that in a minute. It is around the same time, maybe the same year, maybe. It was a great album in its own right too, and I had that album. And I saw Pink Floyd. I never saw Zeppelin. They were before I ever went to my first concert.
I never saw Led Zeppelin.
They were done, and of course, then it was solo career. I never saw Robert Plant or anything. I did like, as a side, I did like Coverdale Page. I did like that album. Great album, by the way.
Yeah.
It brought back a lot of memories, but. Late in their career, some of their stuff, I mean, they were deep into the drugs and alcohol, obviously. Some of their later stuff, it was some good stuff there, but it was challenging. They fell off the map a little bit. Before, but, you know, when someone major dies like that, it's almost like it cements it. It's like it stops time. They were never the same. And, you know, and just think about that scene where all these came out of in England and how great all these people were in different bands, like how they ended up together. That's amazing. And the whole Yardbirds thing. I mean, wow. Crazy.
Wow.
Jimmy Page was into the occult, and a lot of his stuff was, you know, occultish looking. I mean, occult looking. Yeah. He was deep into that. I mean, there's no denying that. But I do like that they got back together for the O2 shows with Bonham's son, Jason.
Yeah,
I'm glad they did that. I think they needed it, the fans needed it, and Jason needed that. You know, it was a good way. They were never gonna tour again together. That was a nice thing to do. Way like what was those 2002 something like that. I mean, it's a long time ago, but I'm glad they did it. You know, a lot of people talk about Ann Wilson with them in the audience. Just killed it on Stairway to Heaven that one show of Heart. A lot of people are talking about. There's very few people who pull that song off.
They were at the Kennedy Center.
Kennedy Center, yeah.
And they were paying tribute.
And they're up there going, wow.
It was awesome. Yeah.
And they were all there. I mean, obviously, except for, I think Jason was even there with them. Was he? Did he make that show? I could be wrong.
I don't know.
But I know the three surviving members were there. And how often is it you can talk about a band that there's nobody else? That's it. There were four.
That's it.
And no more.
Yeah.
When Bonham died, they said, that's it. We can never go on. And they did different things and can still make music, but they're like, no way. So that's very few times you'll hear about that happening. There's usually always band members coming in and out. They were four, and then when it was over, it was over.
What did you think about the music of the Firm?
I'm a fan. I like the Firm.
Yeah. Like the Firm.
I wouldn't say that I like everything they do, but I did like the Firm. I like some of the stuff that Robert Plant's done with Alison Krauss.
Oh, yes.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
So we took a long time with the 3 albums, but man, it's hard not to when you got that going on. So we might have to put this.
And there's so much more we could have said about the Rolling Stones.
We could have. We kind of skimmed over that pretty hard and just moved on. So I get it. But and I'm probably going to have to save the artist spotlight to the end, and we're going to hit it. We'll start it and we'll finish it next week. It's going to have to be 2 parts on this one because it's too good. But we did want to spotlight 1973, and we were looking at some of the albums, and we're just going to go down and mention the albums, and we can say whether we are a fan or not, and if we had the album or not. Some of these groups I didn't, but I might have liked their music. In 1973, some of the top albums, beginning of the year and ending the year, or how they came out. The Moody Blues was big around that time. I did not have this album. Did you have any Moody Blues?
No, I'm not really a Moody Blues.
I wasn't either. I did like some of Carly Simon's music, but I don't think I ever had an album of hers.
No.
And I didn't have No Secrets, which came out in 73. War, I did like a couple of their songs they played on the radio. The World is a Ghetto was the album title. I didn't have that album title. It came out that year. Elton John, Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player. I always liked Elton John. I liked a lot of his music. And so I was a big fan early on at Elton's. I don't remember. I didn't have this album. I don't believe I did have his box set. I did have Elton John's box set and a couple of CD or cassette tapes. I don't know if I ever had an Elton album. That's a good question. My wife's a big Elton John fan, so she loved it when I bought Elton stuff. And I don't even, these are dueling banjos. I didn't know those people. Diana Ross, The Lady Sings the Blues. That's an iconic album. I'm not a huge Diana Ross fan, but I like some things by her. Just a couple. How about Alice Cooper? $1 Billion Babies came out that year. That kind of solidified his.
I loved Alice Cooper's early stuff.
Yeah. Early
Stuff.
He's still on tour. He's got a memoir coming out, and I want to read that memoir. I think it's going to be great. His story's pretty amazing, how he was coked out really bad. He was soon to die, and he found Jesus. And just an amazing story.
Yeah.
Of course, we mentioned Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon. That is, you're right, it's able to be up there with the best of the best of the best.
Yeah.
That's a, a lot of albums are almost conceptual. Theirs are very much like that, and it's one of those albums you put on Zeppelin 4s. Like you don't pick and choose. You just put it on and let it roll.
Yes.
You really don't want to pick a song out of there. It's one of those albums you just put it on and you let it go all the way through. Zeppelin 4 is that way.
That's why LPs coming back was just such an amazing thing, because like when we were growing up, Dave, you could put your LP on the turntable, put the needle down, let the music play, and hear the entire album. And when you do that with Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, you're like, that was incredible. It was an incredible experience.
It's an experience. It takes you on a journey.
Yes.
There's a lot of thought that goes in that, of how they lay those tracks out. And that side one of Zeppelin, I mean, side two was amazing, but what a power punch. Because a lot of people say you got to make side one hit hard, because some people may never flip the album over. But man, Black Dog and all that, closing out side one with Stairway. I mean, good grief!
I'm telling you, that side A of that album,
there may never be another greater.
I don't know if the setup. I mean, I don't know if I've heard a better setup on an album than that one.
They had to know, the record company had to be going, yes. My gosh, you've been doing great work, but wow, listen to this. Dark Side of the Moon, great. Elvis Presley, Aloha from Hawaii. My mom let me sit up and watch the concert. My mom was a huge Elvis fan, and my dad, Dad had to give his approval because it was a school night. And we set up the satellite beam. That was the first time I ever heard of that. Great show. Elvis was still Elvis. He hadn't put on all the weight and everything, and it was a great show. That album, I'm sure, sold really well and continues this day. And in 73, you had Zeppelin, Houses of the Holy. I mean, they just hammered it, man. From 69 to about 75, they were the best. The Beatles, 67 to 70, the name of the album. Of course, they broke up in 70, so they're trying to milk that. Apple was, and I'm sure they made a lot of money. Paul McCartney and Wings. I was a fan of Paul McCartney and Wings. Red Rose Speedway.
So you're a fan of the Beatles?
I am, but not as big as a lot of people are. And I get heck for that.
Yeah, me too. I do too. I mean, I'm
not putting them down. There's just a lot of quirky songs I have that I'm not a fan of.
Well, I'll never forget one time me and a guy was talking. He was it was Mark Ferguson. He was a huge Beatles fan. And I remember saying one time, I said, man, I don't know. They're just overrated.
Oh
my goodness, man. You would have thought I cussed his mom out or something. I mean, it was like, what do you mean overrated? I thought, I don't know. I mean, they're talented. I mean, I
like a couple of the early songs where they're screaming. It's kind of upbeat, but I like Hey Jude.
I like Hey Jude.
I mean, there's some songs.
What do you think their best album was? The White Album.
I mean, probably. I mean, I guess, but there is a contender for that. I think but probably that's what most people say. And hey, that was a big machine. That working with who they worked with.
Oh man,
they had it going on, and two of the best songwriters ever. I mean, really. And that's not to say because the other two produced a lot of music too, but Lennon and McCartney was the duo that was as big gets for songwriting and coming up with songs. And I didn't like everything that Paul McCartney did after the Beatles, but I liked a lot of it. And I did like some Lennon stuff after. So, but I did like some Paul McCartney wings. A lot of people pick about his wife not being able to sing and all that, but hey, George Harrison put out "Living in the Material World." I never had any George Harrison music, but I did like some of his stuff. Chicago 6. I like some Chicago. Or I read a story today that Jimi Hendrix heard them and told them he wanted them on his tour. They opened for Jimi Hendrix at one point for some shows.
Chicago?
Yeah, I never knew that.
I didn't either.
This was way back, obviously, because he died pretty early. But he heard them and he loved their sound, and he said, I won't use the words he used.
Very talented group.
He come back and told Peter Cetera told the story. He said, I want you, Blanky Blankers, on my tour. You're opening for me. And that was just that. So they said, absolutely. The Allman Brothers, all brothers and sisters.
Great album.
Yeah. And what year did Dwayne die?
Let's see.
71?
68.
I mean, he was off the scene pretty quick, man.
I'm going to say 70. I'm going to say 71. I think it was 71.
And then who was the other one? Barry Young?
Yeah.
6 months later or something like that.
Yeah.
Watch out for motorcycles. But the Allman Brothers were putting out some great albums and some great music with Dickie Betts, and I like the Allman Brothers big time. The Rolling Stones, Goat's Head Soup. This is in their heyday. Elton John, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Great album.
Massive album that we talk about there. That's a few of them. That list didn't have, I think we missed some that I wanted to mention. They mentioned Stevie Wonder, Intervisions, Genesis, big back in the day. Selling England by the Pound was the album they had.
That's when that era when they had Peter Gabriel, singing lead. They were a progressive rock giant. I mean, they were. If you go back and listen to their right when they started Genesis, Peter Gabriel was incredible. I know a lot of people not like Peter Gabriel fans, but if you like progressive rock, they're right up there on the top.
Quadrophenia, The Who. Wow, that was. I mean, that 73 is a good year. Paul McCartney Wings, Band on the Run, huge. Got some Iggy and the Stooges here, Raw Power. Wow. David Bowie, Aladdin Sane. David Bowie, that was his heyday. Can, Future Days, I don't know this orchestra. Marvin Gaye, Let's Get It On, big album. How about Waylon Jennings, Honky Tonk Heroes came out that year.
Yes.
Little Feat, Dixie Chicken, wow. Roxy Music, Paul Simon, John Prine. A lot of people. People right here like John Prine.
This number 20, it's in my top 5.
Oh yes, pronounced Leonard Skinner. Yes,
it's in my top 5.
They come out of the gate just magical, man, magical. Steely Dan. Always liked Steely Dan.
I did too. Yeah.
I was never a big fan of the New York Dolls, but they definitely had an influence on a lot of musicians and people. Carlos Santana, who's still amazing. John McLaughlin, Love, Devotion, Surrender. Bob Marley. I was never into that music, but he was huge. Catch a Fire. Who else here? We mentioned that. Marshall Tucker Band.
Man, they're so good.
And just called the Marshall Tucker Band. And the Eagles, just called the Eagles.
Yeah, man.
You don't have to say anything else. The Who's Next came out there.
I liked. Did you ever listen to Buckman Turner Overdrive?
Oh yeah,
they're good.
Oh yeah, back in the day, yeah. The Kinks out there, the Faces. That was a power packed band. The Faces, they don't get near the credit that they should get, honestly. So,
Rod Stewart.
Yeah, Rod Stewart. I mean, amazing.
Well, what's his first name? His last name's Wood. Played with the Stones.
Oh, Ronnie Wood. Yeah.
Yeah. He
and he's one of my all-time favorite guys. I love Ronnie Wood. Love his playing.
Yeah.
But you go back and look at the Faces, and you're like, wow, what a group. But that was the way it was, man. There was these power groups. It was like, 10cc, or there's different ones. They were just
really good.
I mean, they were legends. I mean, they're Hall of Famers, and then they were in these little bands. I say little bands because sometimes the band didn't last 6 months, but they'd put out an album, be legendary, and then they'd break up, move to another band. Or the Birds, Yardbirds. I mean, you know.
Did you ever listen to Traffic?
Oh yeah, I like some stuff by Traffic, and of course, what's the main guy?
Steve Winwood.
Steve Winwood, big fan of his. Extremely talented guy, man. It's a great comment there. Sorry, our fire kicked off. It's okay. We've been on a while tonight. It got tired. The fire went out. It's still on here. It just kicked off the Wi-Fi. But 1973 was great. All right, in the time we have left in our hour, and if you have a favorite album from 73, email us or mention it this show or the next show or whatever. That's some of them. I'm going to say we might not have hit yours, but iconic albums. We're going to start talking about Fleetwood Mac. I am a huge, always have been fan of Fleetwood Mac. Now, I know a lot of people, and of course, I was born in 65. I don't mind saying. In the 60s, they came out of all of that English blues, and they were a blues band back in the day. And they had one of the greatest ever guitarists who, unfortunately, his mind got shot to pieces by drugs. One of the most legendary guitarists who was up there. He was as big as anybody out there, Peter Green. And, of course, McVie and then Mick. I've went back and I bought a lot, most of that stuff.
Their early stuff.
Their early blues stuff, you know. And I went back because when I became a fan of Fleetwood Mac, and no, it's not Rumors. I was a fan before Rumors of Fleetwood Mac. But you got to go back to, I always like, what's the guitarist's name? I mean, I like a lot of that stuff. I mean, they came to America, Jeremy Spencer, and some of those guitar players that he had, the slide guitar. I like a lot of that. But where I became a fan of Fleetwood Mac was, what was his name? Bob? What is the name of that song? It's still one of my favorite all-time 70s songs. He's deceased now, but he was in the band for 2 albums, and he kind of made him a radio before. I mean, what was the name of that song? I feel like Scooter tonight. And I can't even think of. I'd have to look it up, but that's when I became, because they were on the radio and we were big and listening to radio and going and buying albums and stuff. And I just cannot believe and I'll go back and get this. But when you go all the way back, Hypnotize was one of them. Oh my goodness. When you go back and you look at, what is the name of that song? I should have looked at albums. But I loved that he was kind of the bridge between the two worlds. He was a bridge between the early blues stuff, and when you get to Lindsey Buckingham, the Buckingham Nicks, when they came in. And let me find it here. Golly, I hate when I do that. But you get
they had in 1969 they put out The Pious Bird of Good Omen. 1969 they put out Then Play On.
Yes, and I had that one.
And then you move in, and they did a blues jam. I mean, some of them sat in on a blues jam, and that blues jam, it was volumes 1 and 2 in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And then 1970 they had the Kiln House.
That was pretty legendary, and that was around the time.
And then in 1971 they produced the original Fleetwood Mac. And then in 71, Future Games, 72, Bare Trees.
Yep.
73, Penguin. 73, Mystery to Me.
And this is around the time that the sound started changing.
Was that when Peter was with them?
He was already off the scene, I think, by that time, but you had other players that had came in and were a part of that. When you get around that time frame and go just a little bit further, because there's around that, right, because Buckingham Nicks came in 74, 75. Christine was already on the scene by that time. But I'm going to look for the album because I'm trying to find the one that I'm thinking of the most that really kind of pulled me in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the hold on. Sorry, folks.
No, you're fine, man.
I'm trying to find that particular one because it is still played today. It's been covered by a lot of different people, and I got in the wrong thing here. Hang on. And there is 3 distinct different bands, really. I mean, when you think about the band, they're very different. I mean, there's a lot of difference between.
Oh, I failed to mention Mr. Wonderful, 1968.
Yeah.
Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, 1968. And 1968, 79, 36 South Roads.
Yes. So when and I'll find it here. So some of the early players: Jeremy Spencer, Danny Kerwin was a big player with him back in the blues days. You had Bob Weston, and there was some. But when you get the guy I was thinking of was Bob Welch.
Bob Welch.
And I said Bob, but I couldn't get the Welch part. And unfortunately, he's not. He died in 2012 in Antioch, Tennessee.
Who
actually,
else did he play with?
well, he was solo, but he did some stuff before that. But with one of the things, and he kind of came along like one of the guys took off and became part of a religious group at one point. There was some other people that came in and out, but when he came in, and I'm trying to find that. Oh, and you had the fake band too. Don't forget about them. While the Fleetwood Mac, the real band, is out in Africa somewhere, listening to drum beats or kind of working with these, going way back. And there was a band that toured as Fleetwood Mac, and they had to be sued.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, there's a whole story there about it. If you read Mick Fleetwood,
So is that why they put up the real Fleetwood Mac?
Yes. Yeah, there was.
I was wondering when I saw that a minute ago. I thought
they had to fight to get their name back and everything. It was
wow.
a big old mess. It was ugly. So around that 74 time, it was 74 is when Buckingham Nicks came in, but 73, early 74, you had Bob Welch in the band, and God, what is the name of that song? Let me find. Because I hate it when something's on the tip of my tongue, and then it just won't come out. So let me go to Discover here, and you get to. Let me go back. Going back, and watch it not. Sentimental Lady. I couldn't. Sentimental Lady.
Yes.
Bob Welch signature song. He had a couple others, but Sentimental Lady. I loved that. Was played on the radio. That's what hooked me into Fleetwood Mac. And I'm sorry, I just could not get that to come out. That was 72. He had actually.
He put that out himself.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay. Yeah.
But he also did it.
That's why when you said Bob Welch, I thought,
yeah.
I have heard.
He got a lot of mileage out of that song, and other people have covered that song. It's a great song. And I really like Bob Welch. I like his playing. And what Mick Fleetwood gives him a lot of credit for bridging the band between the times of Peter Green, Danny Kerwin, all these other players, to the time when they became the quintessential band that everybody knows, legendary, with Buckingham Nicks. But Sentimental Lady, poor Bobby was losing hair. You know, I mean, it's an early picture of, if you can see that, of Bob. But unfortunately, he had a tough time after that. I mean, Ebony Eyes is the other one.
Ebony Eyes.
He put out that.
Yeah.
That was later after he was out of the band, 78. But Ebony Eyes I love that song too. Anyway, it's classic 70s sound songs. Classic 70s. But then, as the story goes, Buckingham Nicks, who had an amazing album, both songwriters, they were boyfriend and girlfriend living together. Speaking of Nicks and Lindsay, and they were at the iconic studio, and Mick Fleetwood was there, and he hears their stuff and meets him, and the rest is history. He says, I want you to join the band, and he says, we come as a package or we don't come at all. And I bet Mick Fleetwood's kissing the ground to this day that he said, yes, I'll talk to Christine, but if she's okay with it, we'll bring her in too and bring her in. Like she wrote some iconic songs for Fleetwood Mac.
Oh yes, yeah.
So you had the they got together.
Are they in your top 5?
Fleetwood Mac?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love their stuff. I mean, Rumors is one of the best-selling albums of all time, and continues
And it could be up there
to
too.
sell to this day
Yeah.
very, very well. I think it's safe to say it's over 40 million albums sold, something like that,
Man.
and continues to sell. But they let's see, because the album right before that was a good album. But then you had Rumors, those sessions produced a lot of songs, too many songs for the album. Again, limitations to time and space on the album. And one of the songs that got squeezed out, and I think that Mick was the one that had to break the news to Steve. Sorry. And she was ticked off because she wanted to give some proceeds of that, I think, to her mom. She did it later. A great song. But Rumors was, the sessions were so great, stuff got left out. But what do you leave off? What do you take off? There was only, what could an album, in 60 minutes max, could you put on an album? I think. So Paul Biscuit Boy says, looking good, guys. Rumors is one of my favorite albums of all time. So yeah. So we're going to leave you at that point so that I can go be a husband and a grandfather. And your wife's working. So, and I get some rest and stuff for work and leave you hanging. We're going to come back next week. Don't know if Midnight Rider can join me. Maybe Biscuit Boy can next time too. And we're going to dive in and we're going to talk about that Rumors album and Tusk. I want to get into that time frame and we're going to break that down because it is a top 5 album. Rumors is top 5. And we'll talk about Tusk and we'll talk about the issues with that and the band and the drama and the affair that happened that nobody knew about for
I'm
a
looking
long
forward
time.
to that, Dave.
You're looking forward to that?
I am, because I've always been a fan of Fleetwood Mac, but I've never dived deep into the history of Fleetwood Mac, and especially the controversy that went on with the band, and I just tried to. They wasn't a band that like I was like involved in enough to just say I really want to check this out and find out about it. But if
Thank
it
you,
was,
brother.
but yeah, I mean that'd be great, informative.
There's a lot of stories, and we'll dive in and talk about the
Yeah.
fake band and what was going on with them. This thing lasted for years.
Now, see,
Cost a bundle of money to the
I
band,
learned
too.
that tonight.
It's its own
band.
story. We'll talk about the
Jeez.
affair that
Mm.
Stevie was very upset that got revealed in Mick Fleetwood's memoir.
Mm.
We'll talk about the dynamics of the relationships, what happened at that studio, and how did they ever produce an album like that with all that going on.
Mm.
It's amazing. And we'll talk about the songs themselves. We'll break down Rumors, and then we'll dive into Tusk. And we'll talk about the legendary status of each member of that band, because there are let me say this and we'll get off of here. There are a few bands where everybody is uber talented. We mentioned Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin is like that. The Rolling Stones are like that. Well, Fleetwood Mac is like that. The Eagles are like that. Leonard Skinner is like that. Everybody could be an artist on their own. Seriously. And they were. I don't know.
Yeah, they were.
They were solid. Maybe not
Skinner.
Maybe not Skinner, but they were all top of their game at what they did. But they did do some stuff outside of there that was top notch. But you take the Eagles, each one stars. You take the Fleetwood Mac, each one star. Even though that maybe John McVie didn't do his own stuff, but he's a legend. He's a legend. Was the band nearly called? Was the band called Nearly Nicks? No, No, I was not going to happen. But there was a lot of talk about, I mean, you get it. I mean, you got John McVie and you got Mick Fleetwood. We'll also talk about the awkwardness of Mick. We'll talk about a lot next week. The awkwardness of Mick Fleetwood growing up. He had a interesting history a little bit. Why did he wear those 2 little metal balls? We might talk about that too. He's an odd dude. An odd dude. Lives in Hawaii.
Very mystical.
Very mystical. Yes, we will talk.
Stevie
about
is
that.
too.
Stevie is too. Thanks for the light, Biscuit Boy.
Yeah. Okay.
Lindsey Buckingham, Christine McVie, God rest her soul. She. What a dynamic! And how did they ever do it? How did they ever do that with the amount of drugs that was being snorted through their noses? Every single one of them. And another, what do you call? It's like artists are odd people, and some of them are really hard to deal with. And I would put Lindsey in that group, but man, he produced a lot of great stuff.
Oh,
a lot of great stuff. I mean, it's because of him that they got there. But
he's another person that I think is underrated.
Oh, he's absolutely underrated.
Do you not agree with that?
Absolutely.
I mean, geez.
And then his eventual firing from the band, which is a sore spot. But next week, folks, this is the Southern Fried Soundstage. Maybe Biscuit Boy can join us next week. Whoever else wants to join. I love this show. We're fans. We're fans of the music. And we'll talk about it next week. Good night, folks.
Good night.
Have a great night, and we'll see you in the morning with the Cornbread Man morning show. Unless something goes crazy, we'll see you at 6 a.m. Take care.
Southern Free!